Yeah, I can't toss
Awesome
it. It
watch.
like hits me in the back of the head. It's like a boomerang
This
somehow.
is fun.
Hey there, Amanda here, and welcome to episode 102 of Great Beer Adventure. We are still rocking the brand new format, and today I have Heidi sitting here at the table with me. Hi, Heidi.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, and I'm out of Spanish.
Perfect. Me too.
Okay, good.
All right.
We are sitting at my wonderful kitchen table because it's quieter here. It's a little quieter than the last time we got together to record.
This is
the
true.
opening. Yeah.
And clean. It's nice and clean.
It only smells slightly of vinegar.
It's a great smell.
I don't know how it pairs, though, with this Wessie. The Wessie smells good.
Rub your hand on the table, sniff it, take a sip.
It's fancy.
It's an interesting twist on the Wessie.
So before we get into the subject of today's episode, we are drinking Wessie, which comes out, I think, only once a year, maybe twice a year.
Yeah, I think maybe once a year. Yeah, they do what they want.
Yeah, they do what they want to. But it's from Mass Landing Brewing Company out of Westbrook, Maine. And Wessie, the name Wessie is a very interesting story, how that came to be. Do you know the story behind Wessie?
You know, I don't know the details, except that several people had spotted a large snake, I believe, in or along the river in Westbrook. And now there's a festival dedicated to this.
Wait, a festival popped
There's
up
a
since then?
festival. I think last summer was the first time they did
Well,
it.
that last summer was the first time that
They saw
that
it.
they saw
Yeah,
Wessie.
it was like the big thing. We'll see.
That's pretty much it, I think. But it was just like
Yeah.
all over the news, like big snake hunters were coming in from all around the
Yeah, I don't
country.
think anybody ever found it.
I don't think so either. After we have a camp on a pond in Raymond, and there was a giant water snake. I only saw a picture of it, but I don't think that's exactly what Wessie was, but I'm convinced that it is. In my mind, all snakes, no matter how big or small, or if they're snakes or sticks, are the same. They're just big, huge, giant, and scary.
You know, this is Westbrook too, so the water isn't exactly like, who knows, this could have originally been just a garden snake, and then, you know, over time it sort of mutated, and
Could be.
you never know.
There are some paper factories out there, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know if are they still going? Sappy? Sappy.
Sappy.
It's a
Nappy is the
great
distributor.
Nappy and Sappy. It's like Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Maybe they were like brothers or something. And then they
Nappy and Sappy.
Nappy and Sappy.
Wow.
It could be the story of Maine.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. That's great. We have a ton of friends.
So anyways, the reason that we are sitting... I don't know the reason why we're sitting here today. Because
Specifically right here?
Right here.
At this table?
At this table. Because it really would have been a great day to actually be out in a tap room. Because today's topic is tap rooms.
My Lord.
I know.
I just do what you say.
Yeah, I know. I should have better planned that. But I thought what would really be interesting is actually talking about some of the different tap rooms that we have been to. So just to kick things off, Mass Landing's tap room, their brewery is huge, but their brewing system is very small for their space.
Well, it makes the space look larger, the smaller the system.
Yes.
Right?
Right. And they kind of sectioned themselves off the space and made it into their tasting room. And what I'm finding, and it makes perfect sense, and I think most people probably found this, is a lot of tasting rooms are in industrial spaces. And the reason is it's easy to, put in the drains that you need and everything. But what I'm really interested in is some of those more interesting, different type of tasting rooms have...
Let's not forget to mention that Mass Landing is walking distance to my studio. Just saying.
That is true. That is a positive for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so back to these other tasting rooms.
Yes. So have you been in any I mean, we've both been in some old mills,
This is true.
which is really neat to see and have them, see how they revitalize and spaces are being changed and used to bring them back, because some of these mills had sat empty for so long.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, totally dishing them out to people creating all kinds of great stuff. Art and food and the like.
In condos.
And the like. My favorite tasting room right now that's not in an industrial space is definitely Oxbow, Newcastle.
Yeah.
So peaceful.
I haven't made it there.
What?
I know. And what's really cool is like, I want to like plan some kind of, weekend away, girls weekend away. Cause they rent out the farmhouse.
They do. Yes.
Which is just crazy.
It is crazy. You can wake up to the roosters and beer. No, it's super relaxing. They have a little brewery cat, little orange cat that hangs out, and you can walk through the woods and bring your beer, hike with a beer in your hand.
I mean,
see the bees sit by the pond. There's a little tree fort. What more could you ask for,
That is pretty cool.
Totally.
Have you been down to Funky Bow?
Not yet.
No. So they do their brewing in pretty much like a garage area, but their tasting room is either one on the front lawn type of space. It feels like you're hanging out at a summer party at a friend's house, or in the colder days, it's actually in like this giant hoop house, greenhouse. And, you go in there and it's just like,
I've heard great things.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then they do the wood fire pizza as well. And
we need to do a Maine tour. There's still a ton in Maine that I haven't been to yet, especially up north. Orono and all of the...
Wait, you haven't been up to Orono, Bangor Brewer area?
Oh, it's Orono and Bangor.
Brewer.
Brewer. I mean...
yeah.
it's worth it. It's just I got to get, the energy to go north.
There's a half dozen of
them. Go north, Heidi. It's a voice I hear every now and then. I fight it.
I was in a place down around DC that actually used to be, I think, like a dairy place or an old ice cream place, maybe. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
But I really like when the places go in and they change a place that was already there. For instance, last week, our correspondent, Jack, he talked about Jailhouse, and they were actually in a jailhouse.
That's awesome, yeah.
I think that those make for some really interesting stories. We're now going to take a break from you and I talking, and we're actually going to hop over, and I spoke to some people at a couple different events, and they told us about their tasting rooms.
Awesome.
My name is Nate Wilds. We're at Flight Deck Brewing in Brunswick, Maine. Our address is 11 Atlantic Ave, Brunswick, Maine. And our location within Brunswick is on Brunswick Landing, which is the redeveloped Brunswick Naval Air Station, a Navy base naval air station which opened pre-World War II and closed in 2009.
All right, perfect. And now, so my first question, we're actually doing a show on tasting rooms. That's what's coming out next. So that's why I wanted to specifically talk to you. So I want to know the story of your tasting room. There's a lot of tasting rooms out there that have industrial roots because it makes sense for you as a brewer. But you have a lot of history. Yeah, that and drainage is easy, right? Yeah. So tell me, though, about this building. Tell me the story you were just telling me.
So the origins of Flight Deck are very much rooted in the space in which we're in. Our facility is the former Small Arms Range on the Brunswick Naval Air Station. So when the Naval Air Station shut down in 2011, the last P-3 Orion, which is the plane that flew out of Brunswick Naval Air Station, left in 2009. The base formally closed in 2011, and so from 2011 on, it's been in redevelopment for private enterprise. So all the former military buildings, everything from the chapel to the veterinary clinic to office space to the giant hangars that are here, are all being redeveloped for the private sector. And so to date, in just 6 years, there are about 120 companies on the landing. There's close to 2,000 people that work here every single day, and there's 5,000 to 10,000 people that commute onto Brunswick Landing on any given day. So in a very short amount of time, it's come a long way. So our facility is the former Small Arms Range. When we found it last year, it was a concrete box. It's literally a bulletproof building because you shoot at the building on the inside. So the walls are 12.5 inches thick. There's twice the amount of rebar that you would typically find in a concrete structure like this. It's literally bulletproof and then some, because of course the Navy doesn't do anything to spec. They do it to spec times 2. So this building is not and will not go anywhere, whether you want it to or not. So when we first found the building, we fell in love with it for a couple of reasons. And the origin of Flight Deck is really tied to the building. It's not that we had a brewery concept and we needed a facility. It was very much married between the two. So we knew that the greater Brunswick community needed and could benefit from a destination brewery for workforce, for population growth, for fun social activity. As a resident of Harpswell, just south of here, certainly as a young person in Harpswell, we felt the pinch of what Portland takes for granted, which is that casual social space. You know, if you're by yourself on a Friday night, you go out to a brewery in Portland, no one thinks you're weird by going out to a brewery by yourself. In Brunswick, it's very much focused on formal table service, and so to go out to dinner by yourself is a little bit awkward. In the same way that if you want if you have small kids and a dog to do something for the day that's not Popham Beach with all the tourists, it's fairly limited. And so we felt it was a really important thing. I mean, selfishly, as somebody who hopes to raise a family in this community, we wanted better activities and better things to do. And so that is as much about what Flight Deck is as the beer is. And so that's what I bring to the table. My business partner, Jared Entwistle, formerly brewed at Shipyard. He's been brewing since the age of 16. Shh, don't tell. And he has an incredible expertise in brewing. He has the home brewer's artistic side of being able and willing to really try new things and be really innovative. And he has the commercial brewing side, which is, of course, being able to produce the same beer multiple times and do it at scale in an efficient manner and have fun while doing it. And so he and I are sort of that right brain, left brain pair that makes this thing happen. So to bring it back to the facility, when I met Jared, there was sort of this excuse for a brewery in the greater Brunswick area. And of course, my problem was I didn't know how to make beer, or at least I knew how to make beer, but not beer that anyone would pay money for. I have really good friends and family that might drink it and pinch their nose while they do it just to show support. But that was about it. So Jared is the opposite. So he's got beer that people actually want to pay for, which is great. So when I met Jared and learned that he was another young person that wanted to make his life in the Mid-Coast, and he knew how to make beer, he needed someone who could bring sort of that business expertise to it. I've got some of that. And so together we started looking around to say, what would this brewery look like? How could we create a space, not just a place to make beer, but how could we make a space that was welcoming to the community? And quickly this building felt like it was the right fit. A, because the facility itself made sense. We could put industrial tanks in there. As we joked about off air, before recording, we could put floor drains in relatively easily, and that's really important for brew making. But it's also a really unique space. And a critical part of this community, or a core part of the community around here, is the veteran population, the blue-collar population at BIW, and the general town population that was interwoven with the base for a long, long time with the military. And so we wanted to really pay homage to that and respect and kind of honor that heritage and that tradition, while also demonstrating what positive redevelopment of a closed military base could be. And so our kind of slapstick slogan is from bullets to beer, because of course our facility used to be the Small Arms Range where sailors would come in and target practice with pistols and the like, and now some of those same sailors that target shot in here are in here drinking beer, and we promise the shooting doesn't happen anymore. So it's that story of that positive redevelopment, but then using the facility for something new. Aside from a shooting range, it's really hard to find a community purpose for a building like a Small Arms Range. So our emphasis on our tasting room and our rather large outdoor patio and gathering space is to facilitate and demonstrate and enable gathering of people and gathering of community.
You mentioned that the walls were like 12.5 inches thick or something like that, with twice as much rebar, and it was a box. It's no longer a box. There's all kinds of windows and openings.
Definitely not bulletproof anymore.
It's definitely not bulletproof. But that must have been difficult. Can you tell me about the process of actually getting through all of that?
Yeah, well, the first challenge was when we learned how thick the walls were, we made some calls to some concrete cutting firms, and no one in Maine was willing to do it. So we had to find a firm, and we eventually found a team that was willing to do it. I think they may have regretted saying yes halfway through, but it was a long process. It took a lot of weeks of some really big saws to get through that concrete, and it's certainly not something that was financially justifiable if you didn't want to honor and respect the uniqueness of the building. And so to convert this building into a medical office building or a general office space would be silly. I mean, it'd be extraordinarily expensive, and what's the point? And so from the very beginning, we wanted to, rather than trying to make... This is not an artificial industrial chic building. I mean, it is what it is. We have people come in all the time, and we sort of chuckle to ourselves, and they compliment, "Oh, we love what you did with the design. We love what you did with the space." And the truth is, we didn't do anything with the space. We just put in windows, and the sun took care of the rest. We didn't even paint the inside. I mean, we wanted to show that story. So when you walk in, you can see pockmarks all across the wall from the bullets. It's that authentic space that really drew us in and gave us the opportunity to tell a story with a product and with a space that we felt the community could benefit from.
I'm Dean Rowan, Treehouse Dean from Treehouse Brewing Company. The thing about Treehouse is that we have literally so many people that come and buy our beer that we can't have a legit tap room because we have to get people in and out. So right now what we do is we sell cans, we pour growlers, and occasionally on a Saturday we'll get a pour license and we'll pour a pint. But that's all going to change soon. We have a big expansion that's going to be opening up fairly soon, and that tap room will be very cool.
Okay, why?
There's just going to be a lot to see in that tap room. We've got, I couldn't tell you because it's a big secret.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to have to come and see us in Charlton, Mass.
Yes, I definitely will. All right, you ready?
Ready.
All right, first name and who you're with.
Brian Grossman, Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. We have a 400-seat tap room in Western North Carolina, and we have it's a 39-table tap room in our Chico Brewery as well. Everything communicates is what we say. So everything from your beer to your food, the presentations, the time, the music, everything communicates, and making sure that everything is on the level that Sierra Nevada expects is what makes us different.
My name is Kevin McGann. We are in York, Maine at the Wiggly Bridge Distillery Barn.
All right, so the question we're asking today is about tasting rooms. And so first, just kind of give me the origin story. You said Wiggly Bridge Barn. So can you kind of describe that a bit more?
Well, the barn has its history going all the way back to, I believe, 1847. Its most recent incarnation prior to becoming the distillery barn location would be a hardware store. So we've actually taken it all the way back down to the original wood, the original beams, and have opened it up all the way. We have our distillation process happening downstairs, so windows overlooking it, and we have an 18-seat cocktail bar, and we have some upstairs spaces for events and sort of some next level things that are going to be happening in the next couple of years, like maybe steakhouse.
So what made you decide this was the space?
Actually, I think Dave's been involved in a number of businesses that are all along this stretch of Route 1, and this property just is, very central to the highway, very central to commerce in the area. It's also one of the few barns in the area, and it sort of fits who we are as a culture.
Do you know if there were any reasons, like positive, why this space works, or anything that you had to overcome in order to make this place work?
I mean, I can't speak for Dave during the renovation, Dave Wood Sr., but what I can say is I do know that there was a bunch of hurdles in planning and, some other things when it came to the town. This space just works because it's centrally located right off of Route 1. It's 2 minutes from the highway, which, in southern Maine can be a big deal. And our first location was down by the beach in York Beach, which is a very seasonal location. It's a really fun little place, but it can only accommodate so many. And this really fit the next level in terms of, accommodating the distillation process, accommodating our ability to expand into other spirits, and also accommodating the growth of our tasting room into a cocktail bar and, next iterations from there.
Is the beach location still a viable? Like, is it still a location?
It actually is a viable location, and we are distilling gin there this summer with Tim Golden from Seacoast Beer.
And now we've done a show here before, and there's a basement, and you guys were telling me that that is actually good for what you're doing. Can you expand on that a bit?
The basement is actually where we're doing our barrel storage currently, and the temperature in the basement is pretty perfect, and the humidity is pretty perfect to allow for the spirits to be conditioned in barrels and age in barrels. We'll go downstairs in a few minutes and take a look, and we can have Dave give a little sort of update on the science behind that. The other thing I like about this space is, even though it's open to a lot of unique areas. Like where we are at the bar right now feels really open. We go around the corner, you can see that there's the fireplace down there, and there's a couple couches, and it's almost a little like alcove type situation. Upstairs is a whole different area as well. I mean, once you cross the bridge from one side to the other, it's also, from a very open space to, a more cozy little condensed space. And I think that's great, especially when we live in Maine, because it can go from really fun, open summertime thing to I want to tuck in somewhere that has a fireplace and have a stiff drink.
So we had a little bit of beer info from both sides of the country. And plus, we also brought in some information on tasting rooms that are for distilled products. So that's really interesting to see how different places are doing it. And I love that craft beverage industry as a whole, is really making a meeting space for drinkers.
The distilleries, I think, get overlooked a lot of times, but there's definitely a lot more craft distilling happening too right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I think that, maybe it's just because we're in the beer industry.
Right.
But
well, there are a lot of local distillers too. I think people are so wrapped up. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because we're in our own little bubble that we don't hear a lot about the distilling rooms, and also the meaderies, and Urban Farm Fermentory does kombucha and mead and cider, but they also do beer now too, and so I
think are they just doing Gruit?
Just Gruit, yeah.
Which I haven't got to go in and try yet. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so beer without hops. So it's really interesting that they're kind of they were in the fold before they even actually. Yeah, everybody was talking about going in there as well. So I don't know where.
Well, they were originally. Well, we don't need to get into that, but in the mead biz.
Yeah, I just think it's really interesting. There are these places for all different kinds of craft beverages, and I find myself not really necessarily thinking of them when I'm thinking of a place to go. And
And there's not that they don't have a following, because I think they do.
Yeah.
It's just that, some of us are so integrated into beer because it's kind of what our lives and our business revolves around, that we do kind of overlook some of that. I mean, I go to Lone Pine all the time. Not all the time, but I go there.
Yeah.
And I know Eli from Urban Farm Fermenter. I've known him for years, and I still have yet to go in there. And I've been in there in 5 years, and he's changed so much.
Yeah.
So we're going.
We're going.
Dang it.
We're doing this. Yeah. So back to beer though. So we're going to go up to Freeport now, and we're actually going to talk to Maine Beer Company. Ryan sat down with me and told me about all of the amazing stuff that they're doing up there, some of their great beers, their eco stuff that's amazing, and also what they're doing in their tasting room. Hey guys, I am sitting in the Maine Beer Company tasting room on, I don't know how else to describe it except the campus of Maine Beer Company. It is an amazing spot here. The music's going. It's kind of small, but I think we're going to find out some more information here soon. But it's in Freeport, Maine, and it is wonderful. And I am sitting here today with Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, how's it going?
It's wonderful. Would you please just take a quick moment to introduce yourself to all the listeners that are out there?
Sure. Thank you for being here. My name is Ryan Connery Poulin. I've been at Maine Beer Company for 3 years, or going on 3 years now. Love being here. Great company to work for, and I love our beer most of all.
Wonderful. And so today we're here to talk about specifically tasting rooms. And in this new format, we take one story and use that kind of as a cornerstone interview. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to talk for 10 minutes or so about the tasting room here. And the reason there's actually a few reasons why I thought this tasting room would be the best tasting room to be able to record this information at. Because one, there's something strange going on with tips here. 2, you drive into the parking lot and you have solar panels that are bigger than my house. And 2, there's some construction going on. I think that would be 3, actually. I've got 3 fingers up, but I miscount in the middle of it. I promise I was a math teacher at one point in my life and an accountant. But now I drink beer and I talk into a microphone. There may be a correlation there. So you may tackle those and anything else you would like to in whatever order you would like. And you can number them if you want to, or just go willy-nilly, because obviously I don't care.
Sure. I'll start with number 1, and then I'll do number 2, and then number 2 again. And then we'll see what happens after that. So, first of all, I think one of the things that sets us apart here at Maine Beer Company is that we are vocal about the things that we like to support and the organizations that we like to partner with. And we are a member of 1% for the Planet, which is an organization that supports environmental nonprofits. The way that they do that is businesses join and pledge 1% of their sales to this organization, or more specifically, to partners of this organization. So that is something that we do here at Maine Beer Company. Also in the tasting room, we donate 100% of our tips to environmental nonprofits as well. This isn't the typical model in the bartending or in the service industry environment, but Dan and Dave, our owners, decided from the beginning that they wanted to create a workforce or a group of people that were dedicated to our brand, that cared about similar things, and that felt positively about giving back. And one way that we can do that is by donating all of our tips. The other side of that is Dan and Dave compensate all of us that work in the tasting room very well. And that takes away a lot of the competitive environment that sometimes you find behind bars or in the service industry. Everyone can rely on a certain paycheck every other week when we get paid. You know what you're going to get paid. And some of those reasons really make it a really nice environment to work in. So that's something that I greatly appreciate and see the value in that program. Number 2, part of our motto is do what's right. And the solar panels is, one way that we do that. A couple years ago, Dan and Dave decided to invest in solar energy as a way to offset the energy that we're using mostly in our production environment. They could have done many different things. They could have increased our production. They could have, expanded maybe sooner. But they decided to invest in solar energy as a demonstration of our care for and stewardship of the environment. And so oftentimes we get people that will come to the brewery that have never heard of our beer or our brand, but they see these massive solar trackers and they are so impressed by that they'll stop in, ask us about our solar system. And it's really quite impressive that just seeing the solar panels is enough to have people stop by.
Well, I mean, if they're anything like me, they literally are bigger than my house. So you've got to find out what's going on. And then you see the word beer and you're like, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, the solar panel is kind of, what draws them in. The beer keeps them here. So that works out really well. And then the other thing that we're really excited about is our expansion project. And this is something that, we talked a lot about what we wanted to do and how big do we want to get, and all these sorts of questions, all of which are unanswered. But we will be able to produce more beer, which we're very excited about, being in that, having this opportunity to grow our brand and to have more beer available. We find ourselves not being able to get people the beer that they want. So our main objective is to be able to send more beer to our current markets because they're thirsty for it. So that's we're really excited about that opportunity, and we're also excited to grow the tasting room. That'll be phase 2, and it will be located in our current brewing facility. And I think it's around 6,000 square feet. So it'll be quite a big, it'll be quite an increase from where we're sitting now.
Which is how big, would you say?
I would say it's maybe 1,000 square feet or so. And we try and accommodate as many customers as we can, but we'll be able to have much more parking. We'll be able to accommodate many more customers and share our message with that many more people.
I mean, currently you have like a tent outside. That's like your annex parking.
Yeah, the tent actually we brought in last summer, and it's doubled our seating capacity, and it is outside, but people visit Maine in the summer and they want to be outside, so it works out really well, and we're just excited and happy to be able to serve more beer and for more people to be able to learn about what's important to us and learn about our brand.
So when is phase 2 scheduled for? Is there any kind of timeline on that?
We're hoping for summer of 2018 to kind of be unveiling the new tasting room. Some timelines with construction and different things. We don't know that at this point in time, but that's kind of our hope, is that by summer of 2018, we will be able to share our new space with more people.
Now, I know that's a little ways off, but have you guys started thinking about how, like, now there's a very clean feel in here, but it's still cozy. Going from 1,000-ish to 6,000-ish, that feels like it would lose that coziness. Has there been any plans on that, how that might translate?
We really want to do our best to keep the same feel in the new space, and we're working on ways to do that now. There's nothing concrete in place. We're sort of designing the space currently and really want to incorporate components of this space in the new space as well. For example, it's really important to me that when we're serving beer, we're serving the beer at the bar. A lot of tasting rooms, bars that you go into will have beer being poured where the server needs to turn their back on the customer, so to speak, and pour the beer. It's very important to us to keep that face-to-face contact with our customers. It gives us an opportunity to continue talking to the customers about their beer preferences, about our company, about what they want to talk about. And that's something that we'll do in the new tasting room as well. We'll continue with serving the customers face-to-face.
Now, one of the big decorative components is all of those really old-looking cans. Where did those all come from?
So Dan and Dave are brothers, and they founded Maine Beer Company. Their uncle, his name is Tom, and we actually have a beer named after him, Mean Old Tom. And this is Mean Old Tom's can collection from... They grew up in the Midwest, and a lot of these cans are from that region. And there's 600 and something, 620. I'm wrong about that number, but...
We could do the math because they're very nicely put out in rows, but I'm not going to do it.
I don't trust your math skills at this point, seeing as though we couldn't get to 3.
I know how to use a calculator.
That's perfect.
Oh, you've made me lose my whole track of thought here. Now, when I first started talking to you about chatting into my microphone, you said there was something specific that you wanted to tell me about tasting rooms and your experience in tasting rooms. Do you remember what that was? Was it introducing people to your beer? Or no, it was people with their beer shopping list, right?
Yes, that's
so tell me about what a beer shopping list is.
So something that we've been seeing now for a long time and we've been hearing about, we'll have a customer come in and they'll say something along the lines of, I'm here for my nephew, I'm here for my son, I'm here for my son-in-law, I'm here for my daughter-in-law. We have people traveling to Maine for vacation, for work, for various reasons, but it seems like somebody in their lives will hear they're coming to Maine and insist that they stop by and visit us here at Maine Beer Company. We have much more of our beer available here in the tasting room than what's available in other markets. And so...
I mean, literally, there's like cases like being moved around us.
Yes, it's a great thing that people come here and buy beer from us, and we're really excited about that. This is a reason why we potentially need more space, because we're constantly stocking our bottle cooler, we're constantly stocking our case cooler, which is excellent because it means we're selling what we think is great beer to the people. But it's amazing that people come near and far. Since I've worked here, I've had people specifically come here from South Korea, from Japan, from Iceland, from all over the world, all over the United States, and it's really amazing. It speaks to our brand, it speaks to the quality of our beer, and that's what it's all about. And we hope that people are taking away not only great beer, but an understanding of what our company is about and the things that we care about, and the fact that we're trying to do our best in what we're doing.
Thank you so much. I do understand that. I get the text message from my mom whenever she's traveling, like, hey, I'm at this brewery. Tell me what you want. And if I don't text her back, she calls me. So I get that. But yes, I think that you guys are doing some really interesting things here that I don't see out and about all that often. So thank you so much for sharing Maine Beer Company's story with me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So thank you to Maine Beer Company for sitting down and sharing some beers and some great stories. They're expanding so much up there. I can't wait to see what their new tasting room looks like. It's going to be crazy.
I didn't know that construction was there.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. I like that they kind of have a campus that they have developed.
Mm-hmm.
And they just...
Campus, yes.
Yeah, it's...
Let's go get learned.
Yeah. Well, Smutty Nose has one, too, down in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, they have a campus.
And they have a great restaurant.
A restaurant, the brewery, disc golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, disc golf.
Just toss it.
You just like...
You toss it and you walk.
Yeah, I can't toss it. It like hits me in the back of the head. It's like a boomerang somehow.
It's fun. I haven't played it. I feel like I need a tie-dye shirt when I go, but it's fun.
We are going to actually hear from our sponsor where there is some disc golf happening. I'm going to start, though, by asking you a little bit of a trivia question.
Oh, boy.
Before we kick it over there. So you're not allowed to answer until we come back from listening to our sponsor, which is the Beer Geek Retreat, where it's basically a 2-night sleepaway camp for beer geeks.
I'm so excited.
I know, I'm so excited too. It's going to be so much fun. So, trivia question. It's a 2-parter.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I get my thinking cap on.
Get it on. So, here in America,
Mm-hmm.
what year? Now, you got to remember, this is all like from the internets, and so some of it could be absolutely wrong, right?
All of the internet.
Okay.
All of them.
So what year was the first help wanted sign placed? And what was the job?
2004.
No answering yet. Think about it. Don't just spit the first thing out of your mouth.
All right. Do I have a timer?
You have as long as it takes for this sponsor
Yay.
to tell us all about Beer Geek Retreat.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Beer Geek Retreat. It is the Beer Geeks Don't Miss event of the summer, presented by Thomas Point Beach and Campground in Brunswick, Maine. This event is presented by Thomas Point Beach in partnership with us here at Great Beer Adventure. Now, I am sitting in a very loud tasting room, but I mean, yeah, it's what's supposed to be happening, right? Drinking beer, talking about beer, planning beer events. So I am sitting here with Michael, the owner of Thomas Point Beach and Campground. Michael, I would like to know, why is Thomas Point Beach and Campground the perfect spot for this event?
Because we think it's a great spot for this kind of event. For one, because we're biased and we think we're the perfect spot for really any kind of event. But I haven't seen any other venues that really offer, as much. I mean, you've got camping as part of your ticket. You've got the beach. We've got disc golf, ample event space for lectures and activities. And you won't know this unless you've been there, but we're only like a mile away from town, but you feel like you're removed from everything. I mean, it's a perfect combination without giving up, any of the amenities of having a town close by, but also feeling like you're removed from everything to really enjoy this kind of atmosphere and these kind of people.
We're looking forward to it. If you would like more information on the Beer Geek Retreat, head over to beergeekretreat.com.
So, Beer Geek Retreat, coming right up. Super excited. Going to be so much. You're actually going to be there too, right?
Si, señorita.
You're going to be talking about can art, potentially with a bunch of other people as well that also do can art, if I can get my act together and make sure that you all are there at the same time.
Yes. But get your act together.
Right. Otherwise, at least you'll be there to talk about it.
This is true.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of awkwardness and beauty.
I'll get on that. So back to our trivia question. The question was, what year was the first help wanted sign placed, and what was the job that was open? What are your guesses? Other than 2004, come on now.
1914.
Okay.
Masher of grains.
Well, very close partially on one of them. On the other one, no. So according to this random internetness that I found, it was back in 1609.
Wow.
Yeah, it actually said that the first case of beer came over in 1607. And then the first help wanted sign was placed in 1609. So just 2 years later.
What a weird thing to record.
I know. They were looking for a brewer, though.
Yeah.
See? So pretty close
interesting.
Right down there.
This is very interesting.
Yeah. People always say like the reason that the Pilgrims stopped was to stop to get beer, right?
Yeah.
So obviously.
That's why I stopped.
Stop too. Like, wait, it's beer time. Yeah. Stop. Yeah.
Put it down. Open the door.
So now we're going to move right over into our correspondent. And our correspondent today is actually our very own Justin, who is down somewhere on the East Coast. I don't know. I've lost track. He just recently moved. But he's down there, and I really look forward to hearing what he has to say about a new brewery that I don't know about.
Ooh la la.
Take it away, Justin.
Hey guys, I'm here at Devil's Backbone Brewing Company. I'm kind of on an impromptu road trip, and we saw a sign for this actually off of the Interstate 81 South, and decided to drop in and talk to...
My name's Josh Knowlton. I'm the brewery operations manager here at Devil's Backbone Brewery, our outpost facility in Lexington, Virginia.
Excellent, Josh. So, okay, first off, I just want to grab a bit of, history about Devil's Backbone and a little bit about the facility itself.
So we started in 2008. We have a small little brew pub restaurant over in Nelson County, which is across the Blue Ridge Mountain. We have a small little brew house over there. It's only about 8 hectoliters, and sort of our pilot system now. Started out just serving beer for the restaurant, and then eventually, started doing some kegs for local bars, stuff like that. And there was a big enough demand. We opened up this facility, the Outpost, in 2011, and we had a 30-barrel brew house. Our plan was to do 45,000 barrels in 10 years. We are in year 6 now, and we're pushing about, we're not sure, maybe 100,000, but we're not 100% sure. So we're definitely big growth. We have a 120-barrel brew house now, and we're just much larger, bigger production facility, and we're growing. So yeah.
So real quick, let's grab what are 2 beers that you guys have cranked out as of late that you're kind of proud of and are putting out there?
I would say probably our number one is our Vienna. It's the one that keeps the lights on. It's our flagship beer, and we brew quite a bit of it.
That's the only homework I've done for this trip is I've actually picked up a 6-pack. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was actually really impressed. So I'm a fan of it anyway.
A lot of people in Virginia are too. So, then probably the second one would be our Schwartz beer. It's like pretty much our black lager. Just been recently renamed, and it's probably the brewer's favorite. Most of the brewers, a lot of people within the company really, dig that beer. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite local activity to do around here besides brewing a ton of beer?
I like to hike quite a bit, and also I'm an avid motorcyclist, so I like to hit the Skyline Drive or Blue Ridge Parkway. So, yeah.
That's quite the route right there. And then, last question, I would like to know your first beer memory.
Probably my first beer memory would be at the Outer Banks with my family. Went to grab a Sprite, or what I thought was a Sprite, and it was my father's Keystone Light. And it was very shocking and very different, and I think I was about 8. So, yeah, that was my first memory of beer. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Josh. I'm glad we stopped by. This is an awesome location.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much to Justin. And I got to tell you all, Justin, I've said this before, and not enough of you actually are realizing this because I can see the stats and you're not going over and reading the show notes. I am telling you, Justin does amazing show notes. They're so funny and so personable, and they're not just a recap of the show. Yes, any links that have been discussed and breweries and whatnot, he throws those in there as well, just so that you can go and find them pretty easily. But the commentary that he has put together over there is quite phenomenal. It's really funny. I enjoy it. So make sure you go over to greatbeeradventure.com/podcast to check out the show notes for today. thank you, Heidi, for sitting at my kitchen table and drinking beer with me.
Thank you. Thank you for spritzing with vinegar. Thanks for Wessie. It's been a great time.
Yeah. And thank you to all of you listeners out there. Make sure that you swing over next time. We are going to be actually talking. It's another meta show. You know, episode 100 was definitely meta. It was about me and a little bit about the podcast. So very meta. And episode 103 is also going to be, but I promise once we get through 103, we will beer it forward all the way. But 103 is actually our 2nd year anniversary. So,
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, so it's kind of strange that episode 100 and 2 years, I mean, well, if you do math, it's not strange. Like 52 plus 52, 104.
It's all relative.
Right. So it's another reason to celebrate. So we're actually going to be looking at the making of beer podcasts. And again, there'll be all kinds of voices added to this. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Do you?
Yes.
Yes.
Beer onward.
Nice. On that note, get out there and try something new. Chat soon, friends.
Bye.
Bye. Cheers.